So the next section is introductions and layouts for respondents. This is a pretty simple section because we just discussed the exact wording we had at the top of each survey. So each page had their own set of instructions, which were identical to the first. And we also talked about the spacing issue we had in our pilot testing and kind of developing that and making it look better through our final survey, along with putting a line down the middle so we could divide the left side and the right side of each survey to provide more clarification for the respondent. So during in this section we also talk about our ethnicity and political party question, where some of these questions we didn't provide enough answers or answer options for the respondents. So in questions like the political party or ethnicity, we didn't consider that people could subscribe to two ethnicities or not be a part of the two main political parties, Democrat or Republican. So moving past that, we go into the descriptive statistics, which is I found to be the simpler statistics. So at first we just talked about question 18 and whether or not voting or gun issues were important when voting. We ran a histogram on that, determined that it was not a normal distribution, or it was not a normally distributed set of data. So we determined that the mode was the best statistic to use for that. So the mode for voting was 2 with a standard deviation of 1, meaning that most people within the survey found gun issues to be important when voting. So some other descriptive statistics we ran were some pie charts on what criminal justice and political science majors thought about banning certain types of weapons. The main points that we found there were that handguns were the least likely to be banned among both majors, and then it moved on to shotguns, which are a little greater at 18% compared to 6%. And then the biggest disparity we found was 53% of criminal justice and poli-sci majors thought that they should ban assault rifles. So moving on to the relational statistics, we talked about okay, first off, we started off by running the chi-square test on whether males or females were against an assault rifle ban. We found by running the chi-square and getting a raw score of 89.05, there was an association between sex and assault ban. We found that men were more likely to be against the ban, and women were more likely to be for the ban. The second thing we looked at was comparing illegal possession to firearms to the importance of gun issues when voting. We found that there was not an association between those respondents with a gamma value of 0.0857 and a z-score of 0.1370. So we also ran a t-test between the sex of the respondent and the age when they first fired a gun. We found that there was a difference between the males and females in this case, finding that the mean age for men was 11.5 and women was 20. So then we moved on to discuss a little bit about probabilities and whether the respondents found it to be some level of importance when voting again. And the two main findings here were political science majors were more likely to view guns as an important issue when voting compared to the criminal justice alternative, and 100% of the respondents that had a concealed carry within the class also had firearms in their homes as a child. So the rest of the paper discusses smaller portions that were changed throughout the process of creating the survey, as well as things that we would have changed over if we did it again. And the conclusion discusses how we found that the descriptive statistics were helpful to find first, and then moving on to the relational statistics. And also, overall, we found the research to be rewarding. As a group, has spiked our interest to find out more about the differences between the majors.